A Marxist-leaning candidate leading in Sri Lanka's presidential election. Cathay Pacific Airways bans 2 Hong Kongers from their flights after a mainland passenger said she had been insulted by the pair in mid-flight last week. And a new demerit point system targeting unscrupulous taxi drivers. Good evening and thank you for joining us. In Sri Lanka, a Marxist-leaning lawmaker Anura Kumara Dissanayake is leading in early official results of the country's presidential election. A candidate needs to secure 50% or more of the popular vote for an outright victory. This election is crucial as Sri Lanka seeks to recover from the worst economic crisis in its history and the resulting political upheaval. Tracy Furness reports.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe cast his vote on Saturday and said the country needs to get away from conventional politics and turn to a new social and political system.
What does it mean for Sri Lanka? It's a turning point for Sri Lanka. To get away from the conventional politics which destroyed the country and the conventional economy which destroyed the country. And a new social system and a political system.
The results will show whether Sri Lankans approve of Wickremesinghe's leadership over the country's fragile economy, including restructuring its debt under an International Monetary Fund programme after it defaulted in 2022. The country's local and foreign debt totaled $83 billion at the time it defaulted, and the government now says it has restructured more than $17 billion. Over 17 million people are eligible to vote in the country's presidential election, and the overall voter turnout was reported to have exceeded 60% by 2 p.m. Saturday. The election, contested by 38 candidates, is largely a three-way race among incumbent Liberal President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Marxist-leaning lawmaker Anura Kumara Dissanayake, and opposition leader Shadith Premadasa. By Sunday morning, the country was waiting for the final vote count with cautious optimism.
Something good for the public, something good for the country, so the economy stabilizes, a lot of things that will eventually lead to something good for the country and people.
This voter said it would be great if the country could be run justly and fairly, and they must look out for poor families. The economic collapse brought a severe shortage of essentials such as medicine, food and cooking gas and fuel, with people spending days waiting in line to obtain them. It led to rioting in which protesters took over key buildings, including the President's house and the Prime Minister's office, forcing the then President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to flee the country and resign. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
U.S. President Joe Biden has told Indo-Pacific allies that he believes China's increasing military assertiveness is an effort to test the region. The U.S. president was hosting leaders of India, Japan and Australia and said Beijing is going through a turbulent moment. David Garrett reports.
Joe Biden has been strengthening the Quad during his 4 years in office. The U.S. president hosted the 3 other leaders near his Delaware hometown. Biden's arrival was followed by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two sat down discussing regional strategies with the leaders of Japan and Australia.
Welcome. We're democracies. We're democracies who know how to get things done. That's why within the first days of my presidency, I reached out to each of you, each of your nations, to propose we elevate the Quad, make it even more consequential.
In Hindi, Modi said he was among friends at a time of conflicts and tension. The Prime Minister said a free, open and prosperous Indo-Pacific is a shared priority. Fumio Kishida said he could not have picked a better place for his final foreign visit as Japanese Prime Minister. Kishida told the Quad leaders they share Japan's values of freedom and democracy and a wish for an open Indo-Pacific. Australia also highlighted sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Through the Quad, we leverage our significant resources and expertise to contribute in meaningful ways to dealing with challenges facing countries in the region. And we ensure that we assert the view that national sovereignty is important, that security and stability is something that we strive for, as well as shared prosperity. in our region.
China has not commented greatly on the Quad alliance, although once called it a tool to contain China. The Foreign Ministry in Beijing has previously said that it should be remembered the Cold War ended long ago and any mentality from that era is outdated. Biden did speak about China and specifically President Xi Jinping. In remarks not filmed but picked up on a microphone, Biden says Xi's assertiveness in the region is designed to mask domestic problems.
We believe Xi Jinping is looking to focus on domestic economic challenges and minimize the turbulence in China diplomatic relationships, and he's also looking to buy himself some diplomatic space, in my view, to aggressively pursue China's interest.
As Biden bid farewell, he told the other leaders intense diplomacy with China was crucial, citing his regular conversations with President Xi. He said National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan was dispatched to Beijing just weeks ago for conflict prevention and crisis management amidst competition between the two superpowers. David Garrett, TVB News.
U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris is trying to get a second opportunity to debate her Republican rival Donald Trump in the November 5th election. Speaking in Atlanta, Georgia, Friday, Harris told the crowd that she is trying to get a second opportunity to debate against Trump. The two debated each other for the first time on September 10th in a contest that polls showed was won by Harris. Trump said he would not participate in another debate against Harris before the November 5th election.
The problem with another debate is that it's just too late. Voting has already started. She's had her chance to do it with Fox. You know, Fox invited us on, and I waited, and they turned it down. But now she wants to do a debate right before the election with CNN because she's losing badly. You know, it's like a fighter. She sees the pulse. She sees what's happening. She's losing badly, but it's like a fighter who goes into the ring and gets knocked out. The first thing he says is, I want a rematch. I want a rematch. And I won all of the primaries.
The taxi driver offense points ordinance takes effect today. It comes with a three-tier system to combat 11 illegal activities. The 11 offenses include overcharging, willfully refusing or ignoring to accept a hire, and altering a taxi meter, which are among the most serious offenses. Drivers involved in those offenses are subject to a 10-point penalty. Drivers will receive a 5-point penalty if they conduct more minor offenses, such as taking passengers to destinations not via the most direct routes. If taxi drivers have accumulated 10 points or more within 2 years, they will be required to complete a taxi service improvement course at their own cost. If they fail to follow the requirement, they will face a fine of $5,000 and 1 month behind bars. While some passengers said the move has deterrent effects, some taxi drivers are worried about abuse of the system if passengers file complaints wantonly. The Transport and Logistics Bureau said the point system will help combat the bad apples that are a minority of the taxi trade. A member of the Advisory Committee on Mental Health said the suicide trends of students should be closely monitored in the next 1 or 2 years, with more support dedicated to their mental health.
With a surge in suicide cases involving students under the age of 15 last year, Paul Yip, a member of the Advisory Committee on Mental Health, told TVB News that it is necessary to pay close attention to whether the upward trajectory will continue. He noted the need to strengthen long-term support for students' mental health. He says suicide prevention should be beefed up not just during exam periods. The official three-tier school-based emergency mechanism is set to expire at the end of the year. Authorities are reviewing whether to maintain the mechanism. Yip, who's also the director of the Jockey Club Suicide Prevention Research Center at the University of Hong Kong, has been tasked to study the effectiveness of the system. Yip is concerned that many schools directly activated the third tier of responses, sending students at risk to public hospitals for follow-up work. While schools hope the issues can be resolved by psychiatric professionals, he said there should be a better decision-making process because not every case requires medical help. As for the second-tier action of referring the students in question to off-campus social welfare organizations, Yip also noted how it is also easy for students to feel like they are pushed around as well. With that, Yip noted the need for enhanced structural changes, including reduced workload for teachers so that they can do more to care for the students and support their families, as half of the students who committed suicide hailed from single-parent households. Meanwhile, the latest study by the Chinese YMCA of Hong Kong surveyed 826 secondary school students from July to August. The survey found that 30% of the respondents showed depression-related symptoms. More than 20% of them said they would not seek help over the issue. With the chief executive set to deliver his third policy address next month, the group suggested that the three-tier emergency response mechanism become a regular system, and the government should set up a special fund to support the mental health of secondary school students.
Cathay Pacific Airways banned 2 Hong Kong passengers from taking their flights after a mainland traveler said she had been insulted by the pair during a flight last week. Musin reports.
In the video, a female Hong Kong passenger kept insulting the video taker with gestures and discriminatory slurs. The video taker, Iris, said a Hong Kong couple sat behind her, and a woman asked her to adjust her seat because the reclined seat made it hard for her husband to watch TV. When Iris refused, the woman became angry.
Used her feet to hit my aunt, and I was so surprised about it, and her husband began to hold my seat. Then I asked help. After attendants comes, she asked them to stop bothering me. After the attendant leave, they keep hit my aunt and pulled my seat.
Iris said the entire event lasted for 30 minutes. In the end, she said a flight attendant brought her to another seat after seeing things had got out of control. Cathay Pacific apologized for the incidents and said the Hong Kong couple will not be allowed on any of its flights in the future. The university student said the policy is acceptable.
Everyone needs to take responsibility for their behavior. I'm still waiting for the response from Guotai about other things, such as how they are trained their assistant. Because I think how she solved this situation is not that professional, and that is one of the reasons why the things becomes out of control.
For National Day, mainlanders will have a week-long holiday. Some mainlanders said the Cathay Pacific incident will not impact their impression of Hong Kong because the couple does not represent the whole picture. Minus 9, TVB News.
And still ahead, sources say molecular biologist Dennis Low is now the sole candidate for CUHK's next vice-chancellor and president. Rocky Tuan, Vice-Chancellor and President of the Chinese University of Hong Kong, tendered his resignation at the beginning of the year and will step down in January next year. Sources say molecular biologist Dennis Low has been nominated as the sole candidate to succeed Tuan. It is understood if Low receives the support of 3/4 of the 30-strong CUHK council members, he will become the next vice-chancellor and president of the university. Born in Hong Kong in 1963, Dennis Low is a renowned expert in the clinical application of molecular biology. He joined CUHK in 1997 and is currently the Associate Research Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at CUHK and the Director of the Li Ka-shing Institute of Health Sciences. He is known as the father of non-invasive prenatal testing for his pioneering research on the technology. The university's council will reportedly meet on Friday to decide on the appointment. It's Hong Kong Sign Language Day today. Various groups organized carnivals and events today to both celebrate the rich culture of the city's deaf community and shed light on the challenges they face every day, all in hopes of promoting the spirit of inclusivity and understanding in Hong Kong. Take a look.
Dancing to the beat, though to them it's a world of silence. Many performers here are completely deaf, but their laughter and joy fill the air. Still, the everyday life of Hong Kong's deaf community is not without challenges. Kayla Chang was born deaf.
With the assistance of a sign language translator, Kayla told us it's difficult to take the cues of her daughter. When she was a baby, as she couldn't hear her cries and whines, and that has also kept her on her toes over the years. Her daughter Kitty, now a secondary 1 student, said, seeing her deaf parents' tremendous efforts in raising her, she has worked even harder in her academic studies and is learning sign language as a way to thank her parents. Apart from producing short films, the Hong Kong Association of the Deaf and various branches of the Lions Club co-organized a Hong Kong Deaf Festival featuring performances and game booths to raise the public's interest in the city's deaf community.
They are actually the happiest people I've ever met in my life. They're very noisy people, and they laugh a lot and they joke a lot, even though when you see them, they do a lot of sign languages and everything. Their opportunities are so little. Because they cannot communicate, they cannot find a good job, because in the education point of view, the children couldn't hear the teachers, they couldn't do their work.
The organizing committee also hopes, apart from the annual festival, the public can join more of their other activities to better understand the life and difficulties of the deaf in Hong Kong. With the Hong Kong Sign Language Day, the Hong Kong Society for the Deaf also held workshops, game booths and an exhibition in Taiwan to raise public awareness about Hong Kong's deaf culture. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.